I am attorney Carissa Faye Tolentino-Maxino. On behalf of the General Counsel of Solomon University, Attorney Miles Nicolas Bihar, I'll be giving a simplified lecture on the Safe Spaces Act, or otherwise known as Bawal Bastos Law, Child Abuse Law, and Anti-Bullying Law.
Republic Act 11313, otherwise known as Safe Spaces Act or Bawal Bastos Law. What is the Safe Spaces Act or the Bawal Bastos Law? This was signed into law on July 15, 2019. This law addresses all forms of sexual harassment, recognizing that both men and women must have equality, security, and safety, not only in private, but also in the streets, public spaces, online, as well as in workplaces and educational institutions. How is this law different from RA 7877 or the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995? In the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, only persons in authority or who have moral ascendancy could be charged as offenders, and there are no provisions for harassment by subordinates, classmates, peers, or colleagues. Now, in this new law, the Safe Spaces Act, anyone can be an offender. But the Safe Spaces Act does not supersede the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. You may still be charged under both laws. These are the first-degree offenses under the Safe Spaces Act: cursing, catcalling, wolf whistling, leering and intrusive gazing, taunting, unwanted invitations, misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist slurs, persistent unwanted comments on one's appearance, relentless requests for personal details such as name, contact, and social media details or destination, the use of words, gestures, or actions that ridicule on the basis of sex, gender, or sexual orientation, identity, and/or expression, including sexist, homophobic, transphobic statements and slurs. Persistent telling of sexual jokes, use of sexual names, comments, and demands. Any statement that has made an invitation on a person's personal space or threatens a person's sense of personal safety. So these are the penalties for the first-degree offenses. You can be fined as high as 10,000 pesos and or imprisoned for up to 30 days. The following are the second-degree offenses under the Safe Spaces Act: making offensive body gestures at someone, public masturbation, flushing at private parts, groping, similar level actions. These are the penalties for second-degree offenses. You can be fined for up to 20,000 pesos and or imprisoned for up to 6 months. The following are the third-degree offenses under the Safe Spaces Act: stalking, sexual advances, gestures, and statements mentioned previously, accompanied by pinching, touching, brushing against the genitalia, face, arms, anus, groin, breast, inner thighs, face, buttocks, or any part of the victim's body. These are the penalties for third-degree offenses. You can be fined for up to 100,000 pesos and or imprisoned for up to 6 months. The Safe Spaces Act also covers gender-based online sexual harassment. These are acts that use information and communications technology in terrorizing and intimidating victims through physical, psychological, and emotional threats, unwanted misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist remarks and comments online, whether publicly or through direct and private messages. This includes invasion of the victim's privacy through cyberstalking and incessant messaging, uploading and sharing without the consent of the victim, any form of media that contains unauthorized recording and sharing of any of the victim's photos, videos, or any information online, impersonating identities of victims online, or posting lies about the victims. The penalties for gender-based online sexual harassment are as follows: prison correctional in its medium period, or a fine ranging from 100,000 pesos to 500,000 pesos. So what if a student is found guilty of violating the Safe Spaces Act? The educational institutions have the right to strip a guilty perpetrator of his or her diploma or issue an expulsion order. Republic Act 7610, or the Anti-Child Abuse Law. Children refers to a person below 18 years of age or those over, but are unable to fully take care of themselves or protect themselves from abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, or discrimination because of a physical or mental disability or condition. What is child abuse? Child abuse refers to the maltreatment, whether habitual or not, of the child, which includes any of the following: psychological and physical abuse, neglect, cruelty, sexual abuse, and emotional maltreatment. Any act by deeds or words which debases, degrades, or demeans the intrinsic worth and dignity of a child as a human being. Unreasonable deprivation of his basic needs for survival, such as food and shelter. Failure to immediately give medical treatment to an injured child, resulting in serious impairment of his growth and development, or in his permanent incapacity or death. Republic Act 10627, otherwise known as the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. What is bullying? Bullying means intentional conduct, including verbal, physical, or written conduct that creates a hostile educational environment by substantially interfering with a student's educational benefits, opportunities, or performance, or with a student's physical or psychological well-being, and is motivated by an actual or a perceived personal characteristic, including race, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, ancestry, physical attributes, socioeconomic status, familiar status, or physical or mental ability or disability. Threatening or seriously intimidating, and occurs in school property or a school activity or event or in a school bus, or substantially disrupts the orderly operation of the school. Types and examples of bullying behavior may include, but are not limited to: physical, verbal, relational, property, and initiatory rituals. Physical bullying includes shoving, hitting, poking, tripping, knocking books out of a person's hands. Verbal bullying includes name-calling, belittling, making unkind, suggestive, or abusive remarks. Relational bullying includes shunning or excluding someone, spreading rumors, making false accusations, interfering in friendships. Property bullying may include vandalizing or theft. Initiation rituals forcing someone to do something inappropriate, embarrassing, or demeaning. Silliman University promotes a zero tolerance policy for any act of bullying and other forms of abuse on school property or at school sponsored functions. All students are entitled to a safe and secure learning environment. Bullying works against the achievement of that goal. Thus, all administrators, faculty, staff, parents, volunteers, and students are expected to refuse to tolerate bullying and harassment and to demonstrate behavior that is respectful and civil. It is the policy of the university to prohibit reprisals or retaliation against individuals who report acts of bullying or intimidation, or who are victims, witnesses, bystanders, or others with reliable information about an act or bullying, harassment, or intimidation. Students must obey all duly approved university policies, rules, and regulations, and those of their respective colleges or departments, as well as local and national laws. Violations may result in a variety of sanctions, such as but not limited to penalties, warning, loss of privileges, eviction, restitution, suspension, educational experience, dismissal or non-readmission, expulsion, revocation or denial of registration or recognition of organizations.